With the Flyers starting training camp tomorrow, now is the time to wrap up our look at the Flyers roster for 2021. Let's take a look at the secondary. Jason Verrett. When injuries to Richard Sherman forced Verrett into the starting lineup, the veteran took full advantage. While Verrett has dealt with injuries throughout his career, none of that showed up in 2020 as he was able to play a career-high 802 defensive snaps. Verrett's ability to be a lockdown and corner was huge for a Flyers defense that struggled all season to generate a pass rush with Nick Bosa and Dee Ford out of the lineup. Those injuries forced Robert Saleh to utilize the blitz more often than at any point in his tenure with the 49ers, which required the need for man coverage in the secondary. Verrett would finish 2020 with 60 tackles, a career high, and 2 interceptions while allowing a quarterback rating of only 76.2 on throws into his coverage. Fortunately for San Francisco, they were able to bring Verrett back on a 1-year, $3.6 million contract. Next up, Emmanuel Moseley. Originally joining the Flyers as an undrafted free agent in 2018, Moseley would work his way into the starting lineup for 9 games in 2019 and start 2020 as one of the Flyers' top 2 cornerbacks. Unfortunately, injuries would force Moseley out of the starting lineup in the middle of the season, and the play of his replacement would keep him on the sideline for all but 175 snaps over the second half of the year. The concern with Moseley is his ability to stay healthy. He was injured in his NFL debut against the Oakland Raiders in 2018, struggled again with injuries in 2020. In 3 NFL seasons, Moseley has a high of only 576 snaps in a season. The Flyers re-signed Moseley to a 2-year, $9.384 million contract this offseason. While those numbers look impressive, Moseley's cap hit is very low for 2021, and the dead cap for 2022, should he be released, is under $2 million. K'Waun Williams. San Francisco was able to re-sign Williams for a 1-year, $2.375 million deal during free agency. Williams was one of the first free agents signed by the Flyers after John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan took over, and has been one of the best secondary players over the last 4 seasons for the 49ers, playing at slot corner. Slowed by injury throughout 2020, Williams was limited to a career low 284 snaps and allowed a quarterback rating of 81.9. Next cornerback is Dontae Johnson. Primarily an outside cornerback throughout his career, Johnson was moved inside after injuries sidelined Williams and Jamar Taylor. In his first career start at nickel corner against Buffalo, Johnson struggled in zone coverage, but he would hold up much better the next week against Washington. He'll be back this season, and he'll be looking to play both inside and outside. Ambry Thomas. The rookie played for Michigan as a true freshman, and in 2019 was named the Wolverines' skill position player of the year. Under the coordination of Dan Brown, the Michigan defense was very heavy with man coverage, and Thomas excelled, showing the ability to line up outside and in the slot effectively. In addition to his duties at cornerback, Thomas returned to kickoffs and even played some offense for Michigan, tallying 2 receptions for 5 yards and a rush for 11 yards. This was all in 2018. Deommodore Lenoir. Lenoir was a 3-year starter for the Oregon Ducks, his most productive season coming as a sophomore when he finished with a career-best 3 interceptions and 12 pass breakups. Much like fellow Flyers draft pick Ambry Thomas, Lenoir was rarely challenged because he showed the ability to shut down the best receivers in the Pac-12, including New England Patriots wide receiver N'Keal Harry. Jimmy Ward. Following the 2019 season, the Flyers gave Ward a new 3-year, $25.5 million contract to return. This paid off in 2022. While he may not make big plays often, he is terrific at eliminating the opponents from making them as well, and that's his primary job. While Ward would miss a chance for an interception that might have changed the outcome against New Orleans, he would come back with 2 big forced fumbles a couple weeks later in an upset victory over the Los Angeles Rams. The 849 snaps played by Ward in 2020 were the most by the 7-year veteran that he's played throughout his career, and he finished with 73 total tackles, 3rd best on the 49ers. Ward's ability to slide down from his normal safety position and cover a slot receiver or tight end when in nickel or dime situations will provide a lot of flexibility and allow Ryans to disguise his coverages. Jaquiski Tartt. Tartt is one of the best safeties in the NFL when healthy. Unfortunately for the Flyers, the 6-year veteran has missed 24 games over the last 4 seasons and has never played a full 16-game schedule. The veteran would play a career-low 373 snaps in 2020. The highlight of his season would come in a season opener against Arizona when he would intercept a Kyler Murray pass, the first turnover by Murray in his young career against the 49ers. In 2020, Tartt would finish with 30 tackles, 1 interception, and 4 passes defensed. Marcel Harris. Harris made 4 starts in 2021 and finished with 37 tackles, 3 passes defensed, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumbles recovered. The 2018 sixth-round draft pick has struggled early in his career with missed tackles due to being a little over-aggressive, but he showed a lot of improvement in this area, reducing his missed tackles to a career best 9.8% last year. Tony Jefferson. Jefferson broke into the NFL with the Arizona Cardinals in 2013 after signing as an undrafted free agent. New 49ers senior defensive advisor James Beckton was the outside linebackers coach with Arizona at the time before being promoted to defensive coordinator. This gives the 49ers additional intel on the type of player and person that Jefferson is. The veteran has not played a game since tearing his ACL during Week 5 of the 2019 season. He will be competing for a roster spot at strong safety. Tavon Wilson. Originally a second-round draft pick of the New England Patriots, Wilson will only make 4 starts with the club before moving on to the Detroit Lions for 4 seasons, and then joining the Indianapolis Colts for 2020. Wilson has primarily been a rotational player throughout his career, starting only 45 of the 125 games played last season with Indianapolis saw much of the same, as he made only 2 starts while playing 422 snaps total, 203 of those coming on special teams, a role that will be very important for the 49ers. Talanoa Hufanga. Hufanga was named a consensus first-team All-American in the Pac-12 Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2020. Part of the reason that Hufanga fell so far for the 49ers was that he suffered 2 broken collarbones, a shoulder separation, and a concussion during his time at USC. While his talent would have put him much further up the draft order, those injuries allowed him to fall. Despite that injury history, this was the perfect spot to take a risk on a player that was shown the ability to be a very strong player who may also have a little bit of health issues. In just 6 games in 2020, Hufanga proved himself to be a playmaker with 62 tackles, 4 interceptions, 1 pass break, and 2 forced fumbles. And last but not least, Tarvarius Moore. The 2018 third-round draft pick was entering the final year of his rookie contract, and unfortunately he suffered a torn Achilles during the final OTA practice of the offseason, and he's going to be missing the year. As for the 2021 outlook, Verrett, Mosley, and Williams are slated to be the starters on the outside, with Tart and Ward at safety. The injury histories of these slated starters in the secondary means the depth of this group could be tested throughout the season. To this point in his career, Verrett has been able to play at least 13 games in a season on only 2 occasions, 2015 as a member of the Chargers, and last year. It's a similar situation with K'Waun Williams, Mosley, and Tart. Williams has never played a full season, the 15 games played in 2019 being his career high. Likewise for Mosley, who has played only 175 snaps over the second half of 2020, and Jaquiski Tartt, who has played only 36 games over the last 4 seasons. Rookie Ambry Thomas may be able to push Mosley for the starting role opposite Verrett during training camp. And Deommodore Lenoir and Dante Johnson will also provide good depth on the outside, as well as in the slot. At the safety positions, Marcel Harris, rookie Talanoa Hufanga, and Tony Jefferson will be competing for the backup role behind Tartt. Meanwhile, Tavon Wilson looks to be the primary candidate behind Jimmy Ward at free safety. It's going to be especially interesting to watch how the 49ers utilize Hufanga throughout training camp in the preseason. The rookie spent time as a single high safety in college, but was also utilized at times in a linebacker type role, similar to how the 49ers used Marcel Harris at times a season ago and Eric Reid back in 2017.